The UK government is implementing new rules on visas designed to allow temporary economic activity in the UK. The starting date is April 11th. The Global Business Mobility Visa, or GBM, is ultimately a consolidation of various visas that, with one exception, already exist. The designations change, but the material changes are kept within limits. And today I'm going to explain the main changes in certain types of the visas. The first category is senior or specialist worker. This category replaces the intra-company transfer. It is therefore staff who are temporarily assigned to a group company in the United Kingdom. This is exclusively about managers and specialists. The possible activities are listed in the appendix Skilled Occupations. That's a subcategory of the GBM. Materially, little will change. The British company requires a sponsorship license. The minimum salary will increase slightly to £42,400 per year. In individual cases, higher salaries may have to be paid, as the usual salary for the respective activity is ultimately decisive. Those wishing to use this visa must have been employed by the sister company for at least 1 year, unless the annual salary exceeds £73,900. Proof of English language skills is still not required. The senior or specialist worker visa entitles you to a stay of up to 5 years, or even 9 years if you earn more than £73,900. Contrary to what has been discussed in the meantime, this visa cannot lead to a permanent right to stay in the UK in the future either. And the second category is the graduate trainee. The graduate trainee category is also a variant of the intra-company transfer visa, this time for young professionals who are deployed abroad, often in company internal trainee programs. Previous employment with a sister company need only be 3 months instead of a year, and the minimum salary is £23,100, or at least 70% of the usual pay for a comparable job. It's 100% for health and education jobs, by the way. This visa entitles you for a stay up to 1 year. Otherwise, there are many parallels to the senior or specialist worker visa. In particular, the list of possible activities also applies here. And the third category is service supplier, formerly CSS. This category includes contractual service providers, both employed and self-employed. Here too, there is some continuity. Sponsorship by the British client remains necessary, and at least 1 year's previous employment in one's own company, or for the seconding company, is still required. It's also required that 3 years for employees or 6 years for self-employed experience in providing the relevant service. With regard to the possible activities, as with the categories mentioned before, it applies that they must be mentioned in the appendix Skilled Occupations and expressly marked as eligible for the GBM. Alternatively, as option B, a university degree or a comparable technical qualification is required. Sponsorship will still be required. The visa is usually issued for a maximum of 6 months, exceptionally for up to 12 months. And the fourth category is secondment workers. Anyone who has to be and work for their foreign employer in the UK as part of a high-value contract or investment can apply for a visa as a secondment worker. In contrast to the announcements, there is no specific contract amount in the statement of changes. So what counts as high value cannot be reliably determined at this point in time. The desired activity must be listed in the appendix Skilled Occupations. And sponsorship is also required here. In the case of contracts, the contractual partners can act as sponsors, but how sponsorship is supposed to work in the case of investments still has to be determined. And then there is something that applies to the maximum length of stay of the secondment worker. In principle, for the duration of the necessary activity or completion of the task, plus 14 days, or after 1 year after starting work in the UK. Extension is possible, but must not result in accumulation of periods on other visas totaling more than 5 years in any 6-year period in the UK. And there's a fifth category, the UK expansion worker. This is about employees of a foreign company who are working on expanding the business into the UK. If there is already a business there, it is no longer open and another route must be found. This route is also only accessible to specialists and executives. Sponsorship is required here too. Practice will first have to show how this actually works. And there is a minimum salary requirement there. It's £42,400 per annum, or usual pay for the job, whichever is higher. With regard to the maximum length of stay, the statements made before regarding the secondment worker apply accordingly. So it's getting more complicated, you can see, and we will have to see how this will work out in reality and how many will want those visas. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.